I don't think that I have to look at the website to see who the attackers are. There has been this perception that blacks have been predominantly responsible for these attacks. But the latest data that comes out of the FBI and several surveys would indicate that that's not the case. That the attackers are a majority whites. The high profile, the physical assault ones seem to be blacks, say like in Oakland or in New York and elsewhere. But I think we need to look at that website to see what that is. Yes.
You know if maybe the men are underrepresented because maybe they have like an ego problem, they don't want to report it as much as the women will report the acts of violence, and also I think 1 out of 7 undocumented immigrants are Asian, so perhaps they're not reporting either because they're undocumented.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. I think that's a good point. And if you take the undocumented out of it, right? And maybe you take out those who don't speak English very well. You know, it could very well be that many of those that are reporting are like us, you know, educated. You have jobs, you're just a regular member of society, and it is happening to you. Or it could be a family member who doesn't speak English and you report on behalf of that person. And I also know that there are people who are just afraid to report. So my wife has a friend who was a victim of a hate incident at Trader Joe's. And we told her, hey, you know, just go on the website and report it. But she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to be exposed. She didn't want her name. So you have that issue where federal officials are acknowledging that all of this is underreporting. Yes. It's underreporting. There are a lot of reasons why people don't necessarily want to put themselves out there. And you know, you don't blame people for that, because we don't know, you know, information that we put on the web, who's going to access it, who's going to get to it. Now, I just want to very quickly, you know, just go over a couple more points and we'll open up for comments and questions and whatever you want to discuss. There was a group that was formed. What's been interesting about the series of hate incidents is how many people have come forth to protest all over the United States. It's not just San Francisco or Oakland or New York. It's happening in Millbrae, Foster City, Atlanta, Georgia. You know, folks are really trying to say something. And there's been a lot of formation of a lot of groups. So there was one group that was formed earlier this year called Leading Asian Americans to Unite for Change Online Survey. Some tech guy has money, he kind of created this group. And he did this survey with over 2,700 respondents. People responded to an online survey. And what they found that nearly 80% of Asian Americans felt disrespected or discriminated against. And that 37% of white Americans were not even aware of the rise in anti-Asian hate incidents. And 24% of white respondents said that anti-Asian hate isn't a problem in the United States. So those are some, you know, troubling signs. And then, I don't know if some of you might have caught in the New York Times. The New York Times, several weeks back, actually interviewed a number of Asians across the United States to ask them, how does it feel to be an Asian American in today's America? And what I found to be interesting about the responses was that many of those who responded were in the age of 30, 40, and 50, all younger than most of us. in this room. I'm just assuming that we're all about the same age, right? I know he's much older than I am. So, and we're all younger than Paul, but anyway, those who are 30, 40, 50s really grew up like our children, right? They grew up during the time of the civil rights movement where they did not necessarily experience the same situations that we experienced when we were growing up in school and going to college. So here's one comment from a Chinese American first generation, a woman by the name of Genevieve Lim in Oakland. And I'll just read this very quickly. It said, my parents raised my two older sisters and me with a lot of fear. And I would very openly criticize what I believed to be racist sentiments from them. Fear of other races, fear of hate and violence directed at us, fear of us having mixed race kids one day. Now that I'm an adult